Hello, boys and girls. Today and this month, we will be studying form, which is all about artwork that is three-dimensional. First, I'd like to say that artists learn to observe the world. That means we can look closely and see things that we may not have otherwise seen. You're already aware of how there are shapes in the world, like the circle, the square, and the triangle. Shapes are flat. So here again we have the circle, the square, and the triangle in column A. But in B, we have a circle that's been shaded so that it's light on one side and dark on the other. This represents a sphere. And this square has shading that makes it look three-dimensional. That would be called a cube. And this triangle, when it's shaded to look three-dimensional, starts to look like a pyramid. All of these forms that are three-dimensional are achieved by shading. But again, the 3D forms are not flat, they are fat. That means they take up space in the room. If you make artwork that has three dimensions, it could be called a sculpture. Sculpture is artwork that you can look at from the front and the side, and even from the back or the bottom or the top. Sculptures are artworks that are actually, truly three-dimensional. Another kind of three-dimensional artwork made with clay is called pottery. This is an example of some Native American pottery. Our work today is mostly going to be about taking notes. I love taking notes because I know how to use drawing to make my notes more interesting. So on your sheet of paper today, the first thing we can do is draw a little rectangle in the corner, and that's where we can write today's date. And I like to draw a little extra rectangle below that, and that makes it look like a piece of paper floating, and that this becomes the shadow. Now, our subject is going to be at the top of our note. Today's subject is form. So first I'll write F-O-R-M. And then I can make a little bubble around these letters. F, O, R, M. Already, just making letters, I'm having a little more fun than just writing plain words. Now, we said before that shapes, S-H-A-P-E, shapes are flat, but forms are fat. So I'm going to write a little arrow, says flat, but forms are fat. And I'm going to make a little chart by drawing a T. Please draw a T with me. So we have a square, that's a shape. So in this column, I draw a square. But when that becomes a form, it becomes a cube. Here's how I draw a cube. I draw a V and a straight line down, And then on the bottom, oh wait, I'm going to draw two shorter lines that go straight down. And they need to be higher than this point. And then I connect them. On the top, I make one more point. And now I connect here and here. Now this becomes three-dimensional. Form is all about three-dimensional objects. So a square becomes a three-dimensional or a fat object called a cube. Please write cube next to the cube we drew. Now 3D means it has height from the top to the bottom, and it has width. That's this direction here. It has width, but it also has depth with a D. Height, width, and depth. To make this project a little more fun, we can add some shading to our cube. The top will remain white, but this side on the left can be very dark. And this side on the right can be medium gray. Now that looks a lot more three-dimensional. Our second shape will be a circle. And if that becomes a form, well, we'll draw a circle again. We will create the illusion of form by shading our circle and creating a sphere. So one side of our sphere will be very bright. That's where the light hits it. And on the opposite side, we'll draw a shadow on the ground. Just some value, some shading. And to make our sphere more three-dimensional, we can shade this dark side of our sphere. Just with a regular pencil. You've heard of shading before. That's when we take our pencil and we make value changes from dark to light. That has created the illusion of a sphere. Our third shape will be a triangle. And there are two three-dimensional forms that the triangle creates. One is a cone. When we have a triangle, that's a flat shape. But that can become a form or make it fat if we'll draw this triangle with a curved base. It'll look like a piece of pizza. And then if we shine a light on it, this side will be bright and this side will be dark. So I'm going to add some value by shading, pressing hard to get a dark value, and pressing lighter to get a medium value, and then pressing really lightly to get a light value. And if I throw a shadow on the ground, that starts to look pretty three-dimensional. So that is a cone. And the other word is a pyramid. So again, I'll draw a triangle, but then I'm going to draw a third line that's a little longer than these two. And then I will make a V just like I did with the cube. This V creates the base. And if the sun shines down, we have a shadow over here, and we will have a very dark side over here in the shade. And this might be a little bit lighter. And that's a pyramid. Pyramid. So those are all examples of form. When we have a three-dimensional shape, it becomes a form. The other word I used earlier today was sculpture. Sculpture is art that is three-dimensional. And remember, three-dimensional means something that has height, width, and depth. Those are the three dimensions we're talking about: height, width, and depth. Well, I hope you've had some fun taking notes. I've had fun drawing here, and I hope you have a good day.